The shiur hosted by Torah Anytime, Daf Yomi, and the Talmud River Learning Center. We begin on the bottom of Yud Zayin Beis, 4 lines up at the bottom of the Amud, where we begin the Gemara of the new Perek Mishamesai. Before we do that, let's do a quick review of Daf Yud Zayin. The Gemara was talking about many different tefillas that people had. Talmidei Chachamim, Tzadikim said after they finished davening, and we went into different things they said after they had a tainus, after they finished different svarim like Eiv, Magla Bepume, what they used to say, and how do women merit the world to come because of the Torah learning of their husbands and their children. When the Rabbanan used to leave, they used to give certain blessings to the other colleagues. And then the Gemara primarily went to the end of that was the Mishnah, Machlekes. We had a contradiction between Rabbi Shloimy and Rabbanan regarding when are we concerned for Yura? When are we concerned for a person being arrogant, thinking, okay, I'm a big tzaddik? And it seemed to be exactly inverted. Their machlekes in our Mishnah regarding if he's allowed to say krishma the first night, you can't have kavanah. Regarding a different machlekes regarding doing malacha on Tisha B'Av, which was exactly the opposite. By one of them, one was saying it is arrogance, another one not, and the other one was saying the exact opposite. The Gemara either said mochlefes hashit, you have to switch around the opinions, or that no, we could actually interpret the different opinions why it's not a contradiction. That Rabbi Shloimy holds by Kriya Shema, you're not allowed to say the first night because we know you can't focus. But by malacha Tisha B'Av, whoever's going to see you is going to think, okay, he just doesn't have work to do. Whereas the Kontra Rabbanan, they said no, by Kriya Shema you're allowed to because you can't really tell, you don't stand out. But whereas by Tisha B'Av you do stand out because everyone's doing work and you're not, so therefore that's why it's not a contradiction and you don't have to say Mochlefes Hashita. That was the end of Perek Hayu Kairi, and with that we began the third Perek, Perek Mishamesa, which we had learned the Mishnah. The Mishnah primarily said, which according to Rashi is a continuation of the previous Perek, regarding, we said a chassan is pata from Kriya Shema because he's torrid the mitzvah, he's preoccupied with a mitzvah thought of getting married with a basula. So then our Mishnah continues on a similar theme regarding if someone is preoccupied chas v'shalom with a sad thing, with a mitzvah of a dead relative of his. So he said there was like 4 different types of categories that have this exemption of Kriya Shema, who's busy with a dead person, the oinen, someone whose close relative just passed away, someone who's carrying the coffin, those who are burying, and also those who are oimdim b'shur, those who are standing by the rope. So some of the ideas we're going to be speaking about today on Daf Yud Ches is the Gemara is going to go into a discussion regarding a diuk, a few diukim actually that the Gemara is going to make. It says Misha Meisei Muta Lefanav. Contradiction, it sounds like it's only if he's in front of you. What's if you're a dead person, your relative, your father, your mother, your sister, your brother, whatever it is, chas v'shalom, that's in a different house, would you also be kpata from Kriya Shema? And the Gemara is going to have 2 interpretations for that. The Gemara is going to have another diuk of a question of meisoi, his mace, which sounds like only if it's your relative. What's if someone's just watching? We know there's a shomer, you have to keep a body watch. What's if you're a shomer? Are you going to be pater then or not? The Gemara is going to address that question. And then the Gemara is going to ask a third question that's going to say, wait a second. We know even if someone's just walking in the base of kvaris, he's pater from Dvarim Shebekdusha. So how can you say it's only if it's, let's say, meisoi or a shomer? The Gemara is going to address those things. The Gemara is going to continue with the halachas of a shomer, qualifying that if there's 1 shomer or 2 shomer. The Gemara is going to get into a discussion of leig l'rush, which is halacha that we have a privilege. We don't necessarily always think about and conscious of it. We get to do mitzvahs. Dead people don't, and it's embarrassing for them, and it's scorning them if one would have certain mitzvahs in front of them, and therefore the Gemara is going to qualify those halachas. Then a very interesting question, which people ask me many times, I don't know why they do, but do the dead know what's going on? I mean, do they even really know? And the Gemara is going to have a lengthy discussion regarding this. I don't know if it's going to satisfy your quest for answering the final question, but the Gemara is going to address that at great length. Do the dead know what's going on? And the Gemara is going to say, although it's going to try to bring rayas that they do know, the Gemara is going to have 4 different rejections of saying, no, that they know, that they know, that they know, that they know, but not necessarily do they know everything that's going on in this world. And ultimately, the Gemara is going to bring a proof that they do know what's going on here in this world. So with that, we begin essentially the new Perek Mishamesa, which we had explained the Mishnah, which again primarily was just saying that if someone's busy with a dead person, he's pata from Kriya Shema. So now we begin the Mishnah, the Gemara, 4 lines up in the bottom of the Yom, the Gemara makes the following diuk, an inference. The Mishnah said if someone has Misha Mesa, which is the title of this parak, if someone has his dead person that was Muta Lefanav placed in front of him, says the Gemara, that's where you tell me there's going to be part from Kriya Shema. But if he's not literally placed in front of him, let's say he's in a different house, and so in the hospital, think about it, someone passed away in the hospital, and someone is in this house. So the mess is in one house, and the relative is in a different house. It sounds like from the dig of the Mishnah that there is not going to be part from Kriya Shema. Says the Gemara, if it's to be contradicted from the following brisa, it says Misha Mason Mutalafon. If someone has his dead person placed in front of him, so then the brisa here goes through, and these are halachas that are actually we rule like this. The halach is eichel b'bayis. He has to eat in a different house, because if not, it looks like loy garash, where you're eating here. There's only an activity that a human being can do, and here this person's laying here dead, a line b'ashtayin. You can't go ahead and do that. Rather, you have to eat in another house. If he doesn't have another house, okay, you don't have your own second house, eat in your friend's house. If you don't have your friend's house, so make a partition and eat. If he doesn't have something to make a partition, so turn your face away and then eat. Now, so that's the way how you should eat. Now, you shouldn't recline and eat like the way they used to do in Talmudic times, where you lean on your left side on a couch. You don't do that. You don't eat meat. You don't drink wine. And this is where there's a famous machlokes Rashi and Taisus. Rashi says you don't have to make the brachas of the Beruchas Daf. You're exempt. Taisus, and this is how we rule. Taisus says Ein Rishoy Levarach. Taisus says you're not allowed to, and we rule like that. The Ein doesn't make brachas. Rashi says you don't have to, but Taisus says you're not allowed to make the bracha. But we'll translate the way Rashi says. Vein mezamed, you don't have to make brachas hamazon, as we continue to about b'tchesem and aleph. Vein mevarchen love, and also we don't need that others should make brachas for that person when he's coming to eat bread. No, you just eat the bread. You don't make a bracha. Vein mezamed love, and neither do we go ahead and do zimun. He's not part of, let's say, two other people eating together. You don't make a brachas hazimun. Upata mikri shema u'minat tefillah, exempt from saying the shema, davening, putting on tefillin. All the mitzvahs said in the Torah, this einin, the one who is relative passed away, is going to be exempt from all the mitzvahs in the Torah. Now, that's during a weekday, and this is how halach l'maisa. B'Shabbos, meisa b'eichel basa. Shabbos we don't act in that way. You could recline and you eat meat. B'shaisa yain, mevarch, you drink wine, you make the brachas, mezaman, and you make brachas hamazon, mevarchin the love, mezam the love, and people make brachas for him, and he's part of the zimun. V'chai b'chol mitzvah mitzvah. He's obligated in all the mitzvahs that are said in the Torah. Now, he says what sounds like the same exact thing. He says mitechshin schai be'elo. Oh, since he's obligated in all these mitzvahs you just told me about, this schai b'kul, he's obligated in all of them. What does that mean? Didn't you just say that he's chayv in all the mitzvahs? What's machlokes B'Shem Galil and the Tanakama? Rabbi Yochanan says, "My benau." What's the difference between them? It's tashmish hamita ikebenayu. The difference between them is marital relations. Meaning, according to Rabbi Shimon, this that he says all of them, he means to say that an aval is even obligated in oina, which is his obligations to his wife to marital intimacy. Even though that's something what's called dvar mishabetzin, that's things which are discreet, no one knows about. Even that, he says, you can be obligated on Shabbos. That's a different time. The Tanakama says no, all the external mitzvahs he's obligated, but something like marital relations not. On that, Rabbi Shimon says even that. Okay, that's the brisa. Says the Gemara, but what Ketani Mias, one thing we learn from the brisa, which is coming to ask the question. You said pata mekri shema minat tefillah minat tefillin umekal mitzvahs amuz b'Torah, and even if he's eating in his friend's house, because we said, don't eat at home. Eat in a friend's house, eat in your other house, and you're saying that on all those cases, you're going to be potter from Kriya Shema. Well, that contradicts our Mishnah. Our Mishnah says only mutter lefanav. He's right there in front of you, then you potter. But here you're saying even if he's in a different house, you're going to be potter from Kriya Shema. So answer number one, Amar Papa, he says no, Tirgama, interpret this, that the Brisa says you're going to be potter, is going on someone who doesn't have another house. Rather, it's going on someone who's turning away his face and he's eating. That's where the Brisa continues on that last case, which he doesn't have another house. That's where you're going to be potter from Kriya Shema. But if you're right, if you're going to be in a different house, then you're going to be chayim Kriya Shema, because that's not mutter lefanav. That's answer number one. Rashami says no, the truth is it's going on all the cases of the Brisa. And really the case same is for our Mishnah. Even if the mess is in another house, he's in the hospital, in the senior house, whatever it is, and you're in your own house, there's still going to be an exemption of Kriya Shema, and the Einan doesn't do any of the mitzvahs. So why does our Mishnah say mutter lefanav? Kivin shemutter love the cover, because since it's obligated on this person to go ahead and bury this person, so he's called mutter lefanav. It's kamutter lefanav. I mean, it's as if he's placed in front of him. Like it says the pasuk in Beruchas. Says by Avram Avinu, it says by Yaakov Avram al panei mesa. Avram arose, he got up, he already did this from in front of his dead, meaning his wife that had passed away. Now, still, the it says after that, ve'ekbar meisi milfonai. I want to bury my dead that's in front of me. Wait a second, in front of you? She's not in front of you. You just said in the previous pasuk that you already got up. She's not in front of you. Or rather, says the Gemara, calls man shemuter lav l'kaver, because as long as there's an obligation for someone to bury someone else, kim muter lefanav them. It's as if the person was placed in front to have that obligation, and therefore that dik of the Mishnah not difficult, as we wrote over here, that to say that although the Brisa says even beis chaveri, no, say that putter of Kriya Shema from the Brisa is only on the case of Machzah Panav Eichel, or what you can say is that no, it's by all the cases, and our Mishnah is not difficult because when it's obligated for a person to bury someone, that's kim muter lefanav. I mean, that's the proof from Avram Avinu. You see, that's considered like lefanav. He says me'im meisai, from in front of my dead person. That was diik number one from the word of meisai, versus mutal lefanav versus if it's not mutal lefanav. Now the Gemara makes another dig from the wording of the Mishnah. Okay, you said misha meisai mutal lefanav, meisai in. If it's his dead, meaning one of his relatives, which he has an obligation to bury, that's what he's saying he's part of Krishma. But if, let's say, it's some other person, not a relative, we know people get paid to do this, he's Shomer, a mess. A mess has to be Shomer, and he's a Shomer. Sounds like that loy, then he wouldn't be part of Krishma. Tanya, another question. We learned in the Brayz, it says a Meshamer, it's a mess. If someone's safeguarding a dead person, a corpse, even if it's not his dead relative, part of Krishma, he's exempt from all these different mitzvahs. But that's contradicted from our Mishnah, it says only bit Mesei. Says the Gemara, no, it's not difficulty. Mishamra, if he's watching the mess, even if it's not his dead relative, he's potter, because he's Isaac in that mitzvah of being a shamer. Mesai, if it's dead person, even if they're not safeguarding him, that's what our Mishnah is saying. So it's not a contradiction. It's both opinions are correct. But the Gemara makes another question. This is diak number 3. Okay, fine. So you have Mesai, our Mishnah, if it's his dead relative, Umishamre, or if he's watching. That's in. Okay, that's what you tell me he's part of Krishma. Let's say if he's just Mahalach basic verse, let's just walking in the cemetery. That obviously would sound like that loy, then they wouldn't be part of Krishma. But Vatanya, we learn the Brayz, it doesn't say like this, and this is also halach l'maisa. Lo yahalach adam basic verse. A person should not walk in the cemetery with tefillin b'reisha. In other words, tefillin on your head. The sefer Torah b'zroy b'kari. Not have it hold the sefer Torah in your arm and read it. And if you do this, even Mishim, you violate the pasuk in Mishlei, lo yeglu rush, someone who mocks the pauper, cheref who he's blaspheming his maker, meaning he say he's mocking him. we could do these mitzvahs. You can't. You're not allowed to do that. So you see, you could be part of Krishma, even if you're just walking in the cemetery. Why are you saying it's only if it's Mesa or you're Shomer? Says Gemara, no, because Hasam over there it's more limited, and that's why we didn't include that. It's only within Dalet Amas, around 8 feet of the dead person. That's what's forbidden to go ahead and let's say read from the Torah or say Krishma in the cemetery. But if it's beyond Dalet Amas, then you're obligated. Like the master said, Mace, a dead person, is only Tevez Dalet Amas and Krishma. He only grabs on to an area of 4 Amas for Krishma, meaning only not allowed to say Dvarim Shebekdusha within 4 Amas because of Loig L'Rash. Hach over here in our cases of Meisoi or Meshamroi is Chutz Dalet Amas. Even beyond Dalet Amas, it's going to be Potter. Therefore, we only said Meisoi or Meshamroi. But you're right, Halach L'Leisek is also going to be Potter, but that's only within Dalet Amas. Now, Goof for the Gemara goes back as it often does throughout the Talmud, is that it goes back to something that I mentioned and then goes and discusses that. So you said in the Brayz, someone that's watching a dead person, he said even if it's not his dead relative, so he's part of Krishma, he's exempt from Krishma. Again, Rashi Shita is because of Eisk Mitzvah. We mentioned the previous stuff from Taisis, he holds a whole different lumdus in these things regarding, let's say, when it's Mesai, regarding if because you have to bury or because it's not covered. But this is Rashi's theme, and therefore it's the same idea regarding if someone's Meshama. You're Eisk Mitzvah. So you're part of Krishma, Menat Tefillah, from Tefillah, Menat Tefillah, Umekometz Namors Batayr. Now, that's if you're one person watching a dead person. Says the Brayz, let's say there was 2 people watching. So says the Brayz, then the law is a little bit different. So when this guy's watching, so the other one will say Krishma. And then they switch off. This one watches, and then this one says Krishma. Now Benazim, he says, if let's say they're on a ship, then manich bezabezu. Then even if there's 2 people watching, they could both at the same time leave the mess in a corner. They could go both together at the same time, daven in the other corner. So now, what's the difference between them? Why Tanakama does not differentiate regarding a ship? So Ravina says because if we're concerned for mice, that's the difference between them, as the Gemara explains. Tanakama held that we're concerned for mice even on the ship, so you can't leave a dead person. Dead person, any rodent is going to come to a dead person because he doesn't have a living spirit protecting him. So even on the ship, you can't do both at the same time. You have to switch off. But Ben Azai wasn't concerned. He says in the ship we don't have rodents, and not that they have access like they do have on land. So therefore he held you could leave them both at the same time, and the ship is different than it's on land. Now, continuing on this theme regarding the dignity that we have to have for the bones of a dead person, so turn we'll learn the Brayz, and also then continues on the theme of Loig L'Rash. Let's say someone's transporting bones from one place to another place. Meaning of a dead person there, either interring or whatever it is, they're taking the bones. So the halach is like this. He's not allowed to put it into this large sack of leather, and put it on the donkey, and ride on them. It's a disgrace. It's treating it disrespectfully. The bones of a dead person, you're not allowed to do that. It's a person. Now, let's say he's afraid of the Gentiles, and they list him because of robbers. Oh, so then he has to ride on the horse and he has to quickly flee. Then he's allowed to do that because of the danger. Now, says the Brayz, about some, it's just like we said regarding bones. So too we said regarding a sefer Torah. Now, so the Gemara jumps in over here and says, "Ahai, regarding what are you comparing a Sefer Torah to bones?" Because there's two halachas. There was the Reisha and the Sefer. The Reisha says you're not allowed to do this, and the Sefer said if it's danger, then you're allowed to. So says the Gemara, which case? Ilam Reisha, if it's on the Reisha regarding the prohibition, pshita. Obviously, Migara Sefer Torah out somebody you would think a Torah scroll is less than a person's bones. Obviously, you're not allowed to do it regarding bones, you're not allowed to do it regarding Sefer Torah. Ella rather says the Gemara, no, a Sefer is going on the Sefer, meaning if you're afraid, then the halacha is that you're going to ride. So that's what the Gemara is answering, that it's permitted to ride on them. Yes, even on the Sefer Torah, because of the danger involved, you're allowed to go ahead and do that. Now, additionally, continue on this theme, Amar Rachava, Amar Rabbi Yehuda says, and this is actually halacha. If someone sees a dead person, and let's say the Levi is passing by where you are, if someone sees a dead person and he doesn't escort him, he violates the pasuk we quoted before, loig l'rush, someone who mocks a poor person, who blasphemes the Maker, where this is something that is a decent respect of a person that's being buried, to go ahead and be part of the Levi. You don't have to go the whole thing necessarily, but you have to engage in that a little bit. Now, if someone escorts the dead person, maschar, what's his reward? So Ravasi says, on him the pasuk says in Mishlei, Malva Hashem. Someone who lends to God, Chaynin Dal, is someone that's gracious to the poor. Means to say, the way it's being read here in the Gemara is, someone is considered lending to Hashem if he has mercy on the poor person. Now, there's no poorer person than the dead person, and whoever's escorting him, it's as if he lent God. So you see the greatness of giving to a poor person, which a mess is no one poorer than that, as if he's lending God. And then the pasuk says, whoever harness him, meaning Hashem, is someone that's chaynin evian, is someone who has grace for the poor person. It's the same idea. You're considered as if you're honoring Hashem when you have compassion and you help out the poor person. Again, there's no one poorer than a dead person. There's nothing he could do for himself. Now, continuing on this theme of loig l'rush, which then that brings us into this whole discussion regarding if the dead, do they know what's going on here in this world? So the Gemara brings the following story. Rabbi Yomi have a shaktiv azba besek for us. They were walking in a cemetery. Have a kashad yitchel Rabbi Yomi. So the tchelis, which refers to the tzitzis, so Rabbi Yomi was dragging, his tzitzis were hanging out on the floor. So Amalei Rabbi said to him, Dalye, lift it up. And this is actually halacha. You don't have your tzitzis hanging out in the cemetery. Kadesh lo yemu, that the dead shouldn't say, oh, lamachar boy nitzleinu, tomorrow they're going to come to us, which either means to say because they're also going to pass away, or because people come to tzaddikim, to the kvam, they come to daven to us. But either way, they're going to come to us tomorrow. V'achshav machar from this, and now they're mocking us. You're having your tzitzis dragging. We wish we could do a mitzvah, and here you are walking with your tzitzis all over us. So Amalei said to me, do they even know so much? Well, he realizes that my tzitzis are hanging out of here. But there's a pasuk in Kelis says, the dead, they don't know anything. So what are you worried about? They have no consciousness. So Amalei said to him, look, Im Karisa, if you read, Lo Shanisa, then you didn't review it. You didn't go ahead and review it a second time to understand the depth of this pasuk. And Im Shanisa, Lo Shalashta, if you read it a second time, you didn't read it a third time. And Im Shalashta, and if you read it a third time, Lo Pirshalach, that means to say no one ever explained to you the understanding of the pasuk. Rather, he says the pasuk is referring to the Rishonim. Ki hachayim yodim sheyimusu. The pasuk there over there previously says, it says that the living know that they're going to die. So what that means to say is, Elu tzadikim, these are the righteous, sheb'misasa nikron chayim. In their death, they're rarely called alive. Meaning, when the pasuk says that yodim sheyimusu, they know that they're going to die, it means to say that they contemplate, as we said in the previous Gemara in Masechet Beruchas, that they contemplate the day of death. And therefore they stop from doing sins because okay, I'm going to get this fleeting pleasure, but what, for eternity I'm going to be stuck like this? And when it says, the wicked, they don't know anything, it means that they make themselves like they don't know. And therefore they go ahead and they sin. And Shanema, he proves the point from a pasuk in Shmuel Beis. Again, just the pasuk reads, so he had originally thought, they don't know anything. It said the dead, they don't know what's going on. So he says, no, it's not what it means. When it says, the living know that they're going to die, is the righteous are called alive even when they're dead. Is going into Rishon. The Rishon are considered dead even when they're alive, and they don't know anything. They say they act as if they don't know anything. So he proves this from a passing Shmuel Beis. It says, which is the name of a person. He was a ben Ishchai, he was the son of a living man. Rav Pa'olim, he had many accomplishments. Mikabtzel, from this place Kabtzel. Hu Hika, he's the one who hit, but we're going to interpret it the way he interprets it, as the Gemara is going to explain Amud Beis. So he went and he went and made it low all the years of the generations of Eshnei from the two temples. I mean, there was no one like him. Ariel, the commanders, which also refers to the Beis HaMikdash, which the pasuk says in Shai Chavtes, Hoy Ariel, Kiryas Chana David, which refers to Yerushalayim, to the Beis HaMikdash, of Mayav. Now, because of David HaMelech, who built the Beis HaMikdash, who came from Rusam Aviyah, so that's why it's called. So let me just read the pasuk as it's literally translated, and then the way the Gemara is translating. A simple translation is we're talking about Ben Yoda. He was the son of a living man, many achievements from Kabtzel. Who hika eshnei real moyav. So the little translation is he went and he smote, he destroyed the two commanders of Moav. I mean, we're talking about a mighty warrior. But who yarad vehika esari b'techabar, he went down and he killed the lion in the pit, but Yom HaShalag in the day of the snow. Now I'm just going to read again, according to the way the Midrashic interpretation is. We're talking about Ben the son of a living man, with many kamish and Kabtzel, who hika, what does it mean, who hika? It means to say, he bested. Eshnei, the people of the generations of the two Beis HaMikdashes, that there was no one like him, this Ben Yoda, and Ashnei, how do we say that Ashnei refers to the Beis HaMikdash? Because Ariel is also one of the names of the Beis HaMikdash. Also Ariel, El means God, and Ari is the lion, the mighty lion, because the Beis HaMikdash actually looked like a lion, because the front was narrow and the back was wide, the way a lion does, of Mayav, and we're calling the Beis HaMikdash Mayav because David HaMelech built it, who came from Rus HaMaviyah. And who yard v'hikas Ari b'techabar b'yem HaShalag, which the Gemara is going to explain Amud Beis, what does this whole pasuk mean? Ben Ishchai, and again, this whole point is to prove, which we're going to prove right now, that the tzaddikim, even when they're alive, even when they're dead, are considered alive, and that's what the pasuk means. But v'hamesim and Umma, the wicked, are considered dead even when they're alive. Ben Ishchai, the son of a living man. So the Gemara asks, wait a second, Atu kule alma b'nei mesin ninu? Everyone else is the son of dead people. What does it mean he was the son of a living man? Ela, rather, Ben Ishchai, what does it mean he's the son of a living man? Shafila b'misasei karachai, because even when his father was dead, he was called alive, or he was. But the point is, Ben Ishchai means to say that the life was always there, even when he was away. Which that same idea we're trying to prove, that tzaddikim even misas and nikram chayim. Now the Gemara continues to explain the pasuk once we're explaining it. Rav pa'olam mikabtzel, that he had many accomplishments from kabtzel. What does this mean? Now that we're having a midrashic interpretation of the pasuk, it's coming to talk about the righteousness of a person, not his might, of his physical might. It means sheriba b'kibitz. It means he increased and he gathered payalim l'Torah, achievements for Torah. It's not talking about his might in the physical domain, but in the spiritual domain. When it says he went and he killed the two commanders of Moav, it doesn't mean that. It means he didn't leave anyone like him. No one on his spiritual stature in the first Beis HaMikdash, in the second Beis HaMikdash, as we already explained from Rashi and Amud Aleph, because Shnei Ariel means the two Beis HaMikdash that were built by Moav, meaning from David HaMelech, who came from Rus HaMaviyah. And when it says who yared v'hikas ari b'teichabar, that he went down and he hit the lion b'teichabar in the pit b'yem HaShalag, in the day of the snow, in the snowy day, what does that mean? So two interpretations. Ikadami, that those that say the taver gizizi the bar, that means to say that he broke the pieces of the ice, meaning of the snow that there was over there. That's b'yem HaShalag. V'nachas v'tavel, he went down and he immersed himself in the mikveh because of Thomas Kerry with his seminal emission, because he wanted to toil in Torah. That's what means he went down and he hit the lion, meaning he had to be mighty to go into the mikveh, into the freezing cold, break the ice on the snowy day because he wanted to go and learn Torah. Or Ikadami, that those different interpretation means the Tana Sifra de Beirav, means to say that he learned what's called the Sifra of Beirav, which actually refers to Torah's Kainim. And he learned this whole Sifra, this whole Torah's Kainim, but Yomei de Sisva, on a winter day, which is a very short day. You see how mighty he was that he was able to learn this whole Torah's Kainim in one day. Again, that was the interpretation of the pasuk, which from that pasuk you see Ben Ishchai, that tzaddikim are nikroin chayim even b'misasan, and therefore he says they don't know, they do know what's going on. That's going on Rishoyim b'chayim on nikroim mesim. Now the Gemara goes back to expound that pasuk, which he continues. Now he just brought a proof that tzaddikim even b'misas nekron chayim. And what's the end of the pasuk? What does it mean? The dead, they don't know anything. This refers to the wicked, that even when they're alive, they're called dead. How do you know that? We brought a proof that tzaddikim are considered chayim b'misas, and how do you know rishoim are considered mesim b'chayim? Like it says the pasuk in Yechezkel. It says va'ata, and you chol rasha, you're a wicked corpse. Nasi Yisrael, the prince of the Jewish people. Now this pasuk was said in reference to Tzidkiyahu, who in the days of Yechezkel, he was still alive, and he was being called a chal. So you see, even though the Mefarshim explained why was he called wicked, because let's say he didn't rebuke them. We know Tzidkiyahu Melech was actually a righteous king, but in this context of the pasuk, he's considered a wicked person. But one thing is, you see that he's called a chal, a corpse, even though he was still alive. So you see that a rasha, even bechayav, is called mace. Or v'baisei macha, if you want, you can bring a different proof for this part of the pasuk from Devarim. Pasuk says, "Al pishnayim edim oich shleisha edim you must amaze," based on the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. A person that's going to has to be killed will be killed. Now, but you say you must hames, the dead will be killed. What a chayu, he's still alive. He's the defendant. We're going to kill him. But why are you calling him dead now? Allah hameis meikar, no, because he was already dead from the moment he committed a sin. He became a wicked person. He already rishon mechayim on the Kram Mason. So again, that was round number 1 regarding the Gemara trying to prove if the Mason, if they know or not. The Gemara thought to say that they don't know Hamesim en yadim me'uma, and that he says no, that's a whole different interpretation of the pasuk. Hamesim en yadim me'uma is the wicked who make like they don't know. They're considered Mason even b'chayim. Okay, round number 2. The Gemara continues on this theme. Another story. B'nei Reb Chia nafik l'kuryasa. The sons of Reb Chia, they went out to the villages. They went to go ahead and check on their properties that they have. And iyakarlu talmidayu. So they forgot their learning. Meaning iyakar means literally it was heavy on them because they forgot their learning. So it was like a heavy thing to learn. It's very hard to learn if you don't recall your learning. It's like, man, here we go. So they forgot their learning. Now but they were in pain. They were trying to recall their learning. So one brother said to his friend, he says, Yada avon b'hai tzar, does Tati know regarding our pain? You know, the great Reb Chia, his sons forgot their learning. Does he know what trouble we're going through? So the other one said to him, Mano Yada, how should he know? The pasuk says in Eiv, Yichab Dubanav, his sons will be honored, V'lo Yeda, and he doesn't even know because he already passed away. You see that they're dead, they don't know what's going on. The other brother said to him, V'lo Yada, what he doesn't know. But the pasuk says right after that, it says, Ach Besarai olav Yichav, but his flesh will be on pain on him. V'nafshe, and his spirit olav Tevel will be mourning on him. Now, V'amar B'yitzchak, he says to explain this pasuk, what does it mean that the dead will be in pain regarding his basar? Because kasher rimalamaz, we know that the worm is more harsh to a dead person. It's like a needle in the living flesh. That's how painful it is when the worms eat away at the flesh. So you see that they do know what's going on, even though they passed away. So they said, and this is rejection number 1. Bitzara did hu yadi. Yeah, in their own pain, they know, with the pain of their actual body, like the biting of the worms, that they know. Bitzara dachrina lo yadi, but the pain of the others, that they don't necessarily know. So it's not a raya from that pasuk. So he says, V'loi, and the not, says the Gemara Babatangla in the Brisa, which is a famous story that many people know. And the Gemara goes on to explain this story. There was a story with a certain pious individual. On Erev Rosh Hashanah, he gave a dinner, he gave some money to a pauper. In a famine year. His wife provoked him. What are you doing? You're giving money away. We have no money. It's Erev Rosh Hashanah. What are you doing? So he got out of the house. He went to sleep in the cemetery. And he heard 2 spirits of 2 little children that have passed away. This is the night of Rosh Hashanah. These 2 little girls that have passed away were talking one to the other. So one deceased girl said to her friend, my friend, let's go ahead and roam in the world. Let's hear and know what's being decreed today, the punishments in the world, because the world gets judged in Rosh Hashanah. Let's go in here from behind the curtain, because there's a curtain that separates between Hashem and the Makam, the Shechina. Let's go here from behind the curtain, what type of punishment, what type of misfortune is going to come to the world. So a friend said to her, I can't go, because I am buried in a netting of reeds, and I'm stuck in that, I can't get out, whatever that means. You go, and what you hear, you go ahead and tell me. So the friend went, and she went and roamed the world. And she came, and the friend said to her, what do you hear from behind the curtain? So she said to Shemati, you know what I heard? Whoever is going to plant by the first rains. There's 3 different rains that come in the year. The first rain, and the second, and the third. The first one comes on the 17th of Cheshvan. The second one comes on the 23rd of Cheshvan. And the third one comes on Rosh Chodesh Kislev. So she heard that whoever plants by the first rain, Barad Malka Eisei. So a hail is going to go ahead and hit it, which the hail is going to come right by the first planting. So whatever was planted was already hard, and the hail is going to break it. Now whoever plants by the second one, it was still soft, and it's not going to break because of the hail, as we find in the pasuk in Shemai's test, that depending when something's planted, if it's going to be ruined by barad, like we have Makas Barad and Mitzrayim, certain things were damaged, certain things weren't, depends when they were planted. So if you plant by the first one, it's going to be destroyed. So he went, he had this insider trading secret, he went and he planted by the second rains. So everyone else in the world, their planting was ruined. His wasn't ruined because he planted by the second one. It was still too soft to get broken because it was still supple, it was still soft to get broken from the hail. Now the next year, he already figured out, he already has a way how to do this. He went to sleep again in the cemetery. But you have you go and you take it, you run with it. He heard the 2 spirits talking one with the other. Again, one girl said to the other one, let's go ahead and roam in the world, and hear from behind the curtain. What type of punishment is coming to the world? So he said to my friend, didn't I already tell you? I can't. I'm buried in a net of reeds. You go, what you hear, you come and you tell me. So halcha b'shata ba, so she went, she roamed, and she came. So her friend that was in the net, Ted, said to her, Chaverti, ma shamat machar pargid. What did you hear from behind the curtain? So she said to her, Shemati, I heard she called as a rebbe, shniya. Whoever plants by the second rains, she duff and malko, I say, a dry wind is going to hit it. Now, dry wind is actually only ruin something that's soft, because it just withers it away. It's not like a hail that breaks. It's something that withers something. It's a dry thing. So, but it's not going to ruin those things that are already hard. So halach was our Beruchas Daf. So this guy figured, okay, I'm going to plant by the first one, which is going to be hard. It's not going to wither. Now shakala olim kuli nishta, but everybody else figured they're going to learn the lesson from last year. They went and planted by the second rain. Theirs went and they dried up. V'shaloi nishta, and his didn't dry up. So Amalei Ishta, his wife said to him, wait a second. Why was it last year shakala olim kuli laka? Everyone else's got ruined from the hail. V'shalach loy laka, and yours didn't get ruined. V'akshav, and now it's the opposite. Shakala olim kuli nishta, everyone else's got blasted away. V'shalach loy nishta, and yours didn't get. What's going on? So Sochla called Ramalolu. So he went and he told her everything that happened. So they said, it didn't take, it wasn't a few days later, there was a fight that broke out between the wife of that pious person and the mother of that child who was buried in the net. So in the fight, the wife of the chassid said to her, come, I'll show you your daughter. That she's buried in this net of reeds, and because of you, she can't go out and roam like all the other spirits in the world. I mean, she was using that against that woman in the fight. So Lashon Acheres, the next year, so this guy he goes, year number 3, he goes to the cemetery. So he hears the spirits of these two girls talking one with the other. Amrullah, he says to her, let's go and roam in the world. Let's hear what's behind the curtain, what type of punishment in the world. Amrullah, he says, my friend, leave me alone. The conversation between me and you, it was already heard between the living, because he got back the word that this mother of this girl got shamed because of this wife of this chassid that told her and told her this thing. Says the Gemara, Al-Mayadi, obviously the dead know what's going on amongst the living. So rejection number 2, says the Gemara, no, dilma in the maybe somebody passed away in the interim. Maybe the dead don't know what's going on in this world, but the dead have their own community. And someone who passed on from this world to the next world said, by the way, your mother got ashamed by someone else who said that you were buried in the thing of reeds, and therefore maybe that's how they knew, but maybe they don't know what's going on in this world. Tashma, the Gemara continues trying to bring a raya. The Ziri have a mafkid zuzi, again with different incidents. Ziri had deposited his money, Gabi Ush Pezichte, by the landlady of the place where he was staying. And he gave her money. Now, Ad Asiva Azal Abei Rav Shchiva. By the time he came back from yeshiva, she had already passed away. So Azal Bastor L'Chatzamabas, he went after her, literally means the courtyard of death, and he went to the basic first, he went to the cemetery after her. So Amalai said to her, Zuzi Hecha, where's my money? So Amalai, she said to him, okay, Zil Shaklin, go take it, Mituse Bitzinara, from underneath the pivot, the dasha of the door, Beduch plan in such a place. That was one thing she told her, because she told her where the money is. Now, also tell my mother to shadali mastrikai, to send my comb along with me to the next world, viguvtai de kuchla, and a tube of paint, because since she died at a young age, this landlady, so she was saying it because of the pain that she doesn't have her makeup with her, which actually the Bali Musa are very busy with this. You see, you don't change in the next world. The way you are right here. In the next world, she's asking for her makeup and the comb? Yes, because you stay exactly how you are. So therefore you want to become exactly who you're supposed to be, because that's the way you can be for eternity. So she said, send it with Bahadi Planisa, that girl who's going to be passing away, the Asti Lamacha, who she's coming tomorrow to be buried, send it with her because I want it in the next world. But one thing, says the Gemara, Al-Mayadi, obviously they know what's going on here in this world, that she knows that woman is already what's called a geisis, she's already in the throes of death, and she's going to die, and therefore she said to send it with that woman who's passing on. Says the Gemara in the rejection number 3, Duma. Maybe Duma is an angel that's in charge of the dead. Kaduma Machas, though he comes before and then he announces and he says, and now this person is coming. And therefore the dead know, because they hear the announcements, okay, we have someone in the waiting room that's coming now to the next world. But all the other things that's going on in the living, maybe they don't know, so it's not a raya. Tashma, the Gemara continues trying to bring a right with another story. The Shmuel, the father Shmuel, have a mifkadi gabe. They used to deposit by him zuzi diasmi, the monies of orphans. He took care of the orphans' monies. Now kinach nafshi, when the father Shmuel passed away, have a Shmuel gabe. Shmuel wasn't by him when he passed away. Have a kokarli, so they were calling Shmuel, the son who inherited the properties, bar achel zuzi diasmi, the son of the one who consumes the monies of the orphans. Hey, you never gave back the money. So he went to the cemetery after his father. He said in the grave in the cemetery, he said, Be'ina Abba, I want Abba. I'm looking for Abba. That was his father's name. So Amrulay, so all the dead that they appeared to Shmuel as if they were outside their graves and they were sitting in a circle. They said to him, Abba Tuveka, there's many Abbas over here. Someone who he says, Be'ina Abba Bar Abba. He says, fine, I want Abba the son of Abba. Amalei said to him, Abba Bar Abba Nami Tu Be'ikachacha. There's a lot of Abba Bar Abbas. So Amalei said to him, Be'ina Abba Bar Abba Avu de Shmuel. Hey, where is he? So Amalei said to him, Salak L'Masifta Deriki. He already went up to the academy in the heaven. So therefore he didn't see him over there. Now, in the meantime, Chazi, once Shmuel was there by the cemetery, he saw a Levi, his friend Levi, the Yosef Avrah. He was sitting on the outside. He was outside the yeshiva of all the other dead. He was by himself. So Amalei said to him, "My Yosef Avrah, why are you sitting on the outside? And also, my time why didn't you go up also to the yeshiva Shalmala?" So Amalei said to him, because the Amrli, they told me that Kol Kihanach Shani, all those years, that same quantity of years, the Lesalikas Lamasif, the Rabbi Afis, that you didn't go to the yeshiva Rabbi Afis, as the Gemara says in Masechet Ksubis on Daf Kov Gimel Mabeis, that he didn't want to go into the shiur of Rabbi Afis, V'achlishte Ladaite, and they caused him distress. Lemalin Lach Lamasif Turkiya, that same amount of years, you're not going up to the yeshiva Shalmala. Now, in the meantime, Asabu, so his father came back from the Shiva Shamala. So Chazi, Shmuel saw that his father, the Habakabachivach, he saw his father was crying and laughing. So Amalei said to him, my Tamakabachis, why are you crying? So Amalei says, because very soon you're also coming here. You're going to be buried soon. Now, my Tamachichis, why are you laughing? He says, the Kashiv is by Amatu, because you're very much respected in the world, in the next world. So Amalei says, okay, if I'm considered respected, let them take Levi back into Yeshiva Shamala. And they took Levi. Then Amalei, so finally Shmuel came for what he came for. He says, where's the money of the orphans? So Amalei said to him, Zil Shaklina, go ahead and take it, Ba'amsa Derichaya, in the bedstone of the mill, I mean the whole place of the base of the mill is called the Amas Derichayim. It's underneath there. The money is on the top and the bottom is our money. The money in the middle, that's the orphan's money. So Amalei, Shmuel said to him, why'd you do that? Why was our money in the top and the bottom and the orphan's money in the middle? So Amalei says, because if someone's going to steal it, because the money you're stealing is from the top. You'll take the money on top and you run. So let them steal our money. And if the earth is going to eat away at the monies because they're coins and it's on the bottom, let it eat from ours. I want the orphan's money to be protected. But one thing says the Gemara, obviously that the dead know what's going on because, as the way Rashi says, because they know who's chashiv here in the living. That how do he know that Shmuel is considered chashiv? Obviously, the way Rashi learns it, he knew that he was chashiv here in this world. Taisus actually learns is that he knew that he was going to die. The Gemara previously said, Dumo Kadam Machrislu, but that's only right before. Here, Shmuel wasn't dying right that moment. So either way, the Gemara is asking, so you see that the dead know what's going on in this world. Says the Gemara, no, Dilma Shani Shmuel, rejection number 4. Maybe Shmuel is different, keeping the chashav, since he's respected, he's distinguished. So Kadam Machrizi, they actually go ahead and they announce before he comes, Panamokim, clear the space, and therefore he knew that he's considered chashav, but not that he knew that anything more than what's going on in the living. He just made an announcement that he came to his son. He said, Shmuel's coming, make place, mach platz. Therefore, that's what he knew, but he doesn't really know anything that's going on in this world. Now, the Gemara ultimately concludes this daf that Va'af Rabbi Yonasan, although we quote on Amad Aleph Rabbi Yonasan, who he was talking there when they were walking with the tchelis, his tzitzis dragging on the ground. He says, what do they know already? What the dead people they know? Because he interpreted Hamesim Enimid Ma'uma, literally the dead don't know what's going on. Says the Gemara Hadbe, he ultimately retracted and he agreed that the dead do know what's going on in this world. Because the Amr B'Shmuel Bar Nachmani Rabbi Yonasan, we have a teaching Rabbi Yonasan himself that says, Minayin Lamesim Shemisab Zebazeh. How do we know that the dead people that they talk one with the other? Shanem, like says the pasuk in Devarim, it says, Vayim Hashem Elav. This is when Moshe Rabbeinu was passing away. So Hashem told to Moshe Rabbeinu that Zaysa Aretz Hashem Nishbati Lavram Yitzchak Yaakov Lamer. This is the land that I swore to Avram Yitzchak Yaakov, saying. Now, my lamer saying means that you should say it over to someone else. Who's he saying this to? That this is the land that was given to Avram Yitzchak Yaakov. So Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu Moshe, says the Gemara, because Kadosh Baruch Hu said to Moshe Rabbeinu, Leich Amar Lahem Lavram Yitzchak Yaakov. I didn't just tell you the land I promised to them. Lamer, tell them, tell Avram Yitzchak Yaakov, tell the others. Shabush and Shbat Lechem, the promise that I swore to you, Kvar Kiyamti Lebanechem, I already fulfilled it by your sons. As the Gemara continues to talk about your testament Aleph. Now, proves the Gemara. If you would think that the dead, they don't understand anything that's going on in this world. All they know is the pain of their body. So if you're going to tell them, what's it going to help? They have no clue what you're talking about. They don't know these world type of things. Obviously, they know, and therefore, go ahead and tell them. But then the Gemara asks, if you tell me that they know what's going on over here, why does Moshe Rabbeinu have to tell them? They know, they see, the spirits are around. Fathers, grandmothers, they're all here, they know what's going on. So why do you have to tell them? Says the Gemara, it's just that they should have an appreciation of the Moshe Rabbeinu that he came and told them that good news. But you're right, they know what's going on, they understand what's going on, and it sounds like from the Gemara's conclusion that the Mason, that they do know what's going on here in this world. So some of the ideas we spoke about on this daf, in Beruchas Daf Yitches, we basically open up the new parak Mishnah. We learned the Mishnah on the previous daf, but the Gemara qualified a few different diyukim, 3 diyukim primarily regarding this halacha of Misha Mesa. That's the title of the parak, regarding someone who is dead, is mutalafanav, is in front of him, which again, that was the topic of our Mishnah continuation from the previous parak regarding a chassan who's Torah the mitzvah, is part from Kriyishma, a totally different type of Torah the mitzvah regarding a dead person, it's also part from Kriyishma. The Gemara made a dig. Oh, so Misha makes a mutalafon of only if it's in front of him, then he's part from Kriyishma, but it sounds like if he's in a different house, then you can be Kriyishma. A contradiction. There's a brayse that says you're going to be part even if it's bebeis chaverai, that you're going to be part of Kriyishma. So the Gemara had two answers. Either no, Tirgama, interpret, when the brayse says that you can be part from Kriyishma, that's only going on the last case. By the last case is when it starts going into Patim Kriyishma. The last case was if you don't have another house, you don't have a friend's house, you don't have a mechitza, then just turn your face. That's where the Torah of Kriyishma is going to be, like the halach of Mishnah, only when it's mutlafan. Or answer number two, no, the opposite. The truth is like the way the Brisa says, all the cases, one's going to be part of Kriyishma. But, kivin shemuta love the kavrei, you have an obligation to bury someone, kim muta lefanav them. It's like as if he's right there in front of you, and we have a proof from Avram Avinu, where he already got up from Sarah, and still it says that it's in front of me. So you see that's the idea. So that's actually halachically, it would sound like a totally different machlek is how we answer the question. Either no, it's only mut lefanav, or no, even if it's not mut lefanav, it's kim muta lefanav them. Then the Gemara had another question, another dig from the terminology of our Mishnah. Our Mishnah says, okay, only if it's Mesai mutar lefanov. Mesai means one of the 7 close relatives, he has an obligation to bury. But if it's just like a shimer, you're not going to be part of Kriyishma. But there's a contradiction from a brayse that says, Hamasham and Mes is potter. Even if you're just watching, even if it's not a relative, you can be potter. So the Gemara says, you're right, either one is true. Either a mess, if it's his relative, or if he's a shimer. If you're a shimer, even if it's not your mess, if it's a mess, even if you're not a shimer. But then the Gemara had question number 3. But it sounds like from a brayse it says even if you're just walking in the cemetery, you can be potter from old dvarim shebekdusha. You can't say kriyishma. So even if it's not a mess and even if it's not a shemer, so the Gemara answers yes, but that's only within 4 amos. These halachas of a shemer mess is even if it's beyond 4 amos. Then we continue as we said in Talmudic style. Once we introduced that brayse regarding the patur of a shemer, so the brayse says, but if there's 2 shemim, then they're going to be chayv. They switch off. One watches, one says kriyishma. There's a machlekes, however, if there's even 2 shemim on the boat, if that you have to switch off of both at the same time could say kriyishma, because that's machlekes if there's concern for mice. If there's mice, then you have to switch off. If you're not concerned for mice, then you could even do it both at the same time. Then we got into a discussion of loig l'rush, which is the dead people, they wish they could do mitzvahs. So therefore one's not allowed to walk with a sefer Torah in the cemetery. If there's a levaya, you have to go on an escort, because if you don't escort, it's like disgracing the dead person. And also one's not supposed to walk with tzitzis in the cemetery. And additionally, we had halacha that you're not allowed to act disrespectfully regarding a sefer Torah and the bones of a dead person, unless if it's a case of danger, then you're allowed to go ahead and ride on top of them to get away from the Gentiles or from the bandits. Then we had a machlekes. It's a machlekes in the Gemara. In the Gemara's meskan, it sounds like that they all agree on one thing, but do the dead know what's going on? So the machlekes was regarding a pasuk of Amesim Einim Yod Me'uma. The dead, they don't know anything. So if you say kibshut, it sounds like they don't know what's going on. But the other one says, no, you don't read the pasuk correctly. It's the Risham Bechayehem. The Mason refers to the wicked, that they act as if they don't know anything. They don't think, oh, it's all good or whatever. They don't think. They're considered Mason even when they're alive. And like the pasuk in the beginning was saying, tzaddikim, they're even b'maisam, they're considered chayim, as the Gemara brought proof from 2 different psukim, and also psukim to prove regarding the Mason that they're considered, the Risham, they consider Mason, even b'chayim. And the Gemara brought different stories regarding trying to prove the point. But ultimately, the Gemara says, they're not rayas. Why not? Because yes, they know the pain of their body, regarding the worms eating away at their flesh, but that wouldn't prove they know what's going on in this world. Also, they knew someone that's going to die, because they knew something, let's say someone's going to die, because in a shacha ba'amalu, a person that's going to pass away, that the person that passed away told them in the interim that someone's going to die. Also, additionally, duma kadma machas, though maybe they know because the angel of death, not the malcham avos, but the one that's in charge of the dead, came and announced beforehand. That's how they know. Or when it's adam chashav like Shmuel, they come and they announce panumakam, but it wouldn't be a proof what the Gemara is going to say regarding that they know what's going on in this world. But the Gemara ultimately does bring a proof, even for Rabbi Yonasan, that originally has said that they don't know what's going on. Says no, tell the others they got Eretz Yisrael. So obviously that they do know what's going on, and therefore it's an important thing for them. So it sounds like, again, from the conclusion of the Gemara, that the dead do know what's going on in this world. Thank you, Torah, anytime for hosting us.